Welcome to the Unpopular Playground podcast, where Jen, Lynn, and Debbie will help you navigate life's twists and turns and rock your world by the time you're 30.
Welcome to the Unpopular Playground. I'm Jen Lynn,
I'm Debbie.
and we are here talking about financial literacy for this new month. Debbie, would you like to start off?
Yes. Okay, so what is financial literacy? It's the possession of skills and knowledge and behaviors, including budgeting, saving, debt management, and investing that enable individuals to make informed, confident money decisions. It promotes financial stability, resilience against economic hardship, and long-term security. So budgeting is creating a plan for income and expenses. Jen?
Yes, that's exactly what I have too. There's so many different aspects to budgeting. One, it's basically about where your money's coming from and where you want it to go.
Yeah, basically how to manage what your income is, what your outcome is, and how you're going to save for a future.
Yeah. And then one thing that I thought was interesting, Debbie, I don't know if you've ever heard it, but the only two things guaranteed in life are death and taxes.
Oh, I've heard that since I was a little kid from my dad.
And that's one thing that will definitely take a lot out of your paycheck.
Absolutely.
Income, and they never used to have income tax before. I mean, basically, you have to pay to exist. And I never realized that until I got out into the world on my own,
Uh-huh.
that you are literally taxed for everything.
Absolutely.
And they never used to do income tax before. And the way that started was when prohibition came around
Uh-huh.
and they didn't have alcohol to tax anymore. So they decided to tax our pay. All of the money that we get, that we earn for income, they decided to tax that. And when prohibition was repealed, they never repealed the income tax. So we can thank all the temperance ladies, the people that didn't want anybody in the United States to ever drink alcohol. We can thank them.
Right.
Thanks.
Right. Because he's tired of seeing senior citizens that have worked and saved their whole life being taxed on, say, your home, property taxes. You own your home. Why should you be paying to live there? So, in other words, the government is basically charging you rent, and that's your property tax, so that you can live in a house that you worked and spent many, many years earning the money to purchase your house. And so many senior citizens are being put out of their homes because the taxes are so phenomenal. They can't keep up with their Medicare. Even their retirement plans can't help them. So hopefully this is going to come to fruition and it's going to go through, but it's him, Vice President Vance.
Well, there's another thing that's creeping in that can also suck up income that I definitely wanted to bring to point to mention is that the newer cars are basically becoming to be like that. That you buy your car, but in order for it to function, you have to buy subscriptions. You want
Oh,
heated seats, you have to have subscription. You want your navigation, subscription. You want your radio, you want music in your car, subscription. Little subscriptions for every little thing. And then if they want to turn your car off because you didn't pay your bill, wow, your engine might be a subscription. It's like,
yeah.
onto your old cars. I'm not getting a new car. I don't want a new car now.
No, oh no, I'll keep my car up, do all the maintenance and everything. But no, I don't want to get stuck into
I
that.
thought, isn't that crazy?
It is. It is. But
You own the car, but you have to pay, and if you don't pay to have your basic features that come
right.
basic on most cars now, you're gonna have to pay for it.
But if I'm not using that, I can still get AM FM radio. So that's something that, okay, I chose to pay for that, but I don't want to have to be told. And I mean, and yeah, I have heated seats. I don't want to have to be told, well, now you can't have this and you can't have that because somebody like me with my back and neck injuries, heated seats are fantastic
Oh,
because
yeah.
when I'm
I like
driving
it too.
long distances, it's a blessing. I mean, it's just, it's getting
Yeah, the Honda.
ridiculous. The government is trying to put so much tax on everything that we own. I mean, we own this stuff, like I don't have to pay taxes on my house because it's purchased. I own it. But they're going to charge property taxes. And thank God where I'm at, they're not all that bad. But in some areas like California and things like that, you're
Oh gosh.
talking
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of dollars a year for property tax for a house that you own. And it's
Right?
like, you know, for that matter, people are going to start living off the grid. They're going to just go buy a patch of land. You own the land. You don't have to pay anybody on it. You bought the land. You own, you know, and it's just, it's getting insane. And I wouldn't mind if the taxes were showing some sort of benefit for the people of the United States, but they're
Mhm.
not. The roads are awful. The congestion.
Oh,
It's a nightmare.
the corruption everywhere. We're being taxed to death for every little thing.
Yeah.
And so much to the point that you can't even have fire insurance anymore because insure people don't want to insure in California because,
Plus
all
their
of the
fires.
things because of that. And look at what the government's not using the taxes to take care of the fires. So why are insurance companies going to want to insure houses for mismanaged government
Right.
who are
But
not
like
using the taxes for the right things?
the people in that last fire in California, they still haven't received their money to start rebuilding their homes. Now that's ridiculous. You have insurance. Now you're paying. So now here's the thing that gets me. You have insurance, you pay insurance, you pay a nice premium for your insurance. And then now something like this comes. So now you're having to go live in a hotel. People with families, children, and that, they need suites, or you got to go rent an Airbnb. But the thing is, now all the money you have in your savings is going
Wow.
to that. So then when you get the money for your house, you have nothing. You have no savings left. And it's just like they're trying to just bury Americans. That's what this government is doing. They're killing us and then burying us, and it's a damn shame.
Yep. And if you don't know where your money's going or have plans, emergency plans,
Right.
and to be able to do these things, to be able to take care of these surprises that come along, I mean, you can still have enough to pay your bills and have enough for this and that. But if you don't have enough, if you have that car problem or you get that fire or that random, those things that you have absolutely no control over,
Right.
if you do have a budget or savings, you just really need to be thinking about the big picture and the little picture.
So you go, all right, so I'm going to save up $500,000. Well, guess what? They're going to tax you on that.
Mhm.
On your savings, you got to be careful. If you take money out of different things, CDs or annuities, you have to pay tax on it. But you've already paid the tax on the money you put into it.
On the money that you've earned, and then they're going to tax you again.
I mean, what we're going to offer today, guys, is some help, some tips that you can use and, try, what works best for you with investing or savings or, you know, and go into the benefits of financial literacy.
Yeah, I mean, to know, yeah, it's really important for everybody. I mean, they don't teach this stuff in school. They don't
Oh,
teach about wealth, and it's not just financial literacy, it's, wealth building. Because
yes.
who wants to work until they're 80? I've seen people like let's say I was at Disneyland. There was a lady that works at the plaza. The lady is 95,
Yeah.
95 working there. And I mean, she was very happy. Don't get me wrong. She
Right.
loved it. But it's like, why should a lady that's almost 100 have to work to survive? And then you talk about, okay, when do you want to retire? You might not live to be 65, 70 to be able to
Yeah.
get that maximum money. So it's like, do I want to retire at 62 and be able to still travel and have fun while I have the energy? Or do I want to
Uh-huh.
get more money and then be broke down and not be able to do anything when you're in your 20s, when you're just coming out. You think you have all this time in the world, you don't. And man, I wish that if I would have had a podcast like this to listen to, or somebody to be able to tell me, baby, this is what you need to do. This is
Yeah.
where you need to put your money. Here's how to do it. So this is what you need to think about. So when you become my age, you will be set. Because if I
Right.
would have my money in the S&P 500 and all of these other things, all these investments, I could have retired a long time ago.
And another big thing that people do, they buy these expensive houses and they got these high mortgages, but you're paying tax, not only the mortgage, you're paying taxes on that home. And comes to a point when you don't have a steady income, you can't afford the taxes on that home along with your mortgage. So these are things you got to think about. It's like, I may want that big, enormous, beautiful house and this wonderful, but can I afford to live there comfortably until I die at 85, 90 years old? Do I
Well,
have the money to back it up?
what people are doing also, Debbie, is as they move up the corporate ladder, instead of no, they do exactly what you said. They go out and get the bigger house, they get the bigger car. So they're basically still slaves with bigger things because they're trying to keep up with the Joneses
Yeah.
and just trying to impress people that they don't like, or they're in with a club where they know they can't afford it. Their friends, maybe that little circle that they're in can afford it, but they're trying to, be the big person, and you're being taken as a joke. You're not
Yeah.
taken seriously
Well,
with that kind of stuff.
and one last thing on that subject, too. Take a look at all the people that win lotteries. They get
Oh my
millions of
god.
dollars. And then within a year, maybe two max, they're broke. They're bankrupt. They don't have any money at all because now all this money's going for taxes. And it's like, okay, well, when you run out of that money, how are you paying for stuff? Well, you're going to have to sell your house. Oh, but when you sell your house, are you going to make the money back from the house to pay what you owe on the house? I mean,
Probably
these are all
not.
things you got to think about. Oh, well, yeah.
Yeah. You know
But
what I heard?
budgeting to me is just a basic live within your means. That's
Right.
it. If you need it, okay. If you want it, how bad do you want it? Can you live
You
without
budget
it?
for it. You don't impulse buy it.
Right.
And before he told anybody, he asked for a loan from everybody that he knew, and they all turned him down. And then when he found out that he wins, nobody bothered him because they're like, it's like, well, you
Yeah,
turned me down for a loan. You think I'm going to give you something? So he protected
exactly.
himself that way. That's an idea
Yeah,
for you.
that's a good idea. Yeah. If you
Yeah.
guys are ever lucky enough to win the lottery, I have no luck at all when it comes. If I get money, it's because I've earned it, not because I've won it.
Yep.
Okay.
And don't tell anybody.
Now,
Um,
some of the benefits of financial literacy, it enables day-to-day management of your finances. It provides empowerment by providing confidence to make smart, informed decisions. Resilience, it helps navigate unexpected financial challenges. That's what we're talking about now. Like, you have the in the money in your budget so that something catastrophic happens, you got the money there, you can take care of it. It also provides long-term securities by supporting goals like buying a home, owning a home, retirement planning, and debt reduction. I do have some ideas before we get into the whole topic of budgeting on how to improve financial literacy. And these are just little like footnote things. Track your spending, monitor where your money goes, and identify areas for improvement. Understand check credit reports regularly and pay your bills on time to boost your scores. And create a plan. Develop a concrete, simple plan of of action rather than just studying concepts. So these are just things to help you get started with your financial literacy and also to show you what the benefits are. And we're going to now, you want to get into budgeting.
yeah. I know there's one thing that I have found. I'm not sure what you had, Debbie, but it's a 50-30-20 plan. 50% of your needs, 30% of your wants, and 20% of your savings and debt management. And what that
Yes.
looks like, what are your needs? Rent, groceries, utilities, basic bills, and your wants, 30%, your coffee, your movies, eating out, that cool jacket that you want.
Right.
And savings and debt, your savings goals, your emergency fund, and paying off your high interest debts. And then an idea that it mentioned was track 1 month of expenses. And Debbie, what do you have?
Well, basically, in my budgeting, I just had that, it's basically a process of creating a plan to manage your income and your expenses so you ensure your spending doesn't exceed your earnings. It involves tracking cash flow, distinguishing between needs and wants, and setting financial goals to avoid debt. That's the biggest thing. A lot of young people, they get credit cards and they go out and they're like, oh, I have this credit and that. Okay, well, fine. But when that bill comes, if you don't pay the whole thing off, look at how much you're paying in interest and you'll be sick. So, my philosophy for young people is if you get a credit card, use it to build your credit score, but only use it for something that you know you're going to pay off when the bill comes. Don't
Don't
keep
max
running
it out.
debt.
Don't
Right.
max it
Never
out.
max it out. No. I mean, sometimes catastrophes happen, and you really don't have a choice.
But some people get a whole bunch of credit cards and they end up maxing all of them out.
Oh, God, yes.
And then let's say you lose your job, you're fine with it with the great cushy job that you have.
Right.
But once those cards are maxed out, you lose your job. That happened in 2020 when the world shut down.
Uh-huh.
People had all these great jobs and a lot of people didn't have a job anymore. But they had all of that debt, which
Right.
is fine before when they could pay it, but now they can't. So now they're living on debt fare where they're using their
Exactly.
credit cards. And, that's where you get that term paycheck to paycheck because you don't even have enough to pay the basics. That paycheck comes in, it's already spent, it's done. And
Yeah.
you don't have any for savings, no emergent. God forbid your car gets done. You don't want to get stuck in that trap. I've been there and it's not fun. It's not a comfortable position.
No.
Jen's
And
learned.
I have to say, I mean, when I was first married in that, I got into that myself. I mean, we had expenses come up, a lot of medical expenses for my daughter, which, the insurance wouldn't cover. And it got to the point where I had to use the credit cards. And it takes forever. And when you watch yourself paying all this extra money that you really don't have for interest rates, it's just sickening. And
About interest though. They don't tell you about
no,
interest.
no, that's
It's a very silent assassin, that will dig into your thing and it's all in the fine print. So you think all you see is the card with the big balance, but you're not seeing how much you're going to pay for that. And there's a thing called principal and interest. Let's say out of $100 card, and what you pay your $20 payment, $2 is only going to pay that bill and
yeah,
$18 is all for them. So
exactly.
you're never going to get that paid off
No.
paying at minimum balances.
Oh God, no. You'll be paying that balance for like 30 years.
And
And the money you
imagine
pay in
90%
interest.
of them.
Yeah.
And I had a Montgomery Ward's card that I didn't think about the interest. Now that interest on that, it took me forever to pay that off.
Yeah.
And, because of the interest, I was like, Gosh, how come, when am I going to pay this?" And so what I ended up having to do was just pay it in bigger chunks. So more was going towards the principal
Right.
than interest. But like I said, they don't teach you that in school. So
No.
we're hoping that you can learn from our mistakes and get ahead and make sure not to ever get yourself in that situation to begin with.
And when you get credit cards, there's paper that comes with it and it'll tell you APR. Okay. You need to look at that because that's what they're going to charge you. Some credit cards will have 25%. as your interest rate.
Oh,
So
up to 30.
those
For
are not cards you want. Watch your cards. If you're going to get cards that if you spend money, the card is going to match some of that money and you'll have cash on your balance that you can use to pay your next payment. So
my
I'm,
Apple Card's that way. I get
yeah,
so much money back every time I look. I have a nice little balance on my Apple Cash or whatever from using my card, and it's
exactly.
great. And it's a
Now,
nice little surprise.
with a budget is that, it serves as a financial roadmap, providing control and reducing stress, and it helps you meet your long term financial goals. Your income, your total net income from all sources, paychecks, support, alimony, or for kids, or CDs and annuities. These are all part of income. Your fixed expenses should be regular, necessary costs like rent, mortgage, insurances for your home, your car, and loan payments, as well as utilities, gas for your car, and your variable expenses would be discretionary spending on items, well, like food and entertainment and clothing. And that by that food, I mean food, restaurant food. I know somebody, a young couple that they in 1 month spent $900 on DoorDash.
Oh my God.
$900. I mean, and it's like, are you kidding me? Yeah, you could buy $900 of food and survive for like 4 months on that if you know how to cook
Oh
and
my
what to
gosh.
do.
I don't
So
hardly eat. My food bill's like 25, maybe $30 tops a week.
it's like these are things that, as far as you guys, when you're thinking about, budgeting, keep all of this in mind. So, on that, as far as budgeting, I don't have any other information other than what we've talked about because this is all stuff that I have lived through. We're not here to tell you how to live your life. We're here to tell you how to make your life enjoyable.
Some tools so that you can be on top of things. I do have a few things. I do have some resources, Debbie, and I have a few more silent assassins. We had talked about some. We just talked about the high interest debt. We went over that. pretty good. Not planning for regular expenses. That can be a silent assassin, like car repairs, your
Right.
annual subscriptions, your car registrations, holidays, birthdays, and special surprise events and things like that, or surprise guests. And for example, it'd be like those work potlucks or the work events, like, Janice is having a baby shower. Do you know Janice? If you don't know Janice, but they're
Right.
gonna try and guilt invite you, or people that you barely know, they don't invite you to the parties, but they're gonna invite you to the baby showers, the weddings, and everything
Right.
that
Everything you can give them money.
everything where
Exactly.
they expect a gift and a registry thing, but they won't invite you to the wedding unless, yeah, so just think about those things too. Those can creep in on
Yeah.
you.
I do
Impulse
have one
buying.
resource.
What's that?
I have one resource that I found to utilize your resources, access educational tools such as those from the Financial Literacy and Education Commission. And this will teach you about financial products and strategies.
I think, oh, the only other two things as far as silent assassins are subscription creeping.
Oh, yeah,
Sometimes you don't think about those subscriptions, they add up.
yeah,
And then eating out, you mentioned the DoorDash,
yeah,
and then the tipping culture. It's like, okay, that the guilt tipping, and I was just like, oh, okay, no, if
yeah.
you want to sit there and be like that, unless you do something amazing for me,
Uh-huh.
you're not getting a tip for doing
Right.
your basic job. And then I see all these things on DoorDash. If you don't tip, they want you to tip first in the app. And
Yep.
then it's like, well, why am I going to tip first if I don't know how the service is?
Exactly.
It's like, are you kidding me? And they're like, oh, people don't tip cash. And if it's like, well, it depends. Depends on how you do it. So the tipping culture, the entitlement, I mean,
Oh, it's bad.
it's safe to say that the world is experiencing tipping fatigue. I mean, before you only tipped your server and the bus people. Now everybody's got their hand out. So
Yeah.
don't feel don't feel guilty about saying no. If you're in a restaurant, I usually always tip, but I tip people that are attentive, people that are good to me, people that fill up my water, people that actually do the service, not people who take my order, leave, and never check on me. And
Right.
then they want to come back and drop the check thing and expect the tips. And
Even that, when they do that, a lot of places now, right at the bottom there, especially like if you're going to be paying with a card, it'll tell you tip 10% would be this much, 15% would be that much, 20% would be that much. And it's based on what your bill is. So they're telling you the percentages you have to tip. And it's like, no, I'm done with it.
and
Oh, no.
Debbie, a lot of times those tips, I was watching something, those tip percentages are wrong. You
Oh,
put
yeah.
out your calculator, 20% is not what it says on there. It's
No.
way higher. So you
Yeah.
always do a custom tip. And actually what I do, because I don't like the way that it separates it. Let's say I go out to a yard house, and if I tip, I give them a good 20% tip because they were good. I'll tip them in cash so that they get it.
I do
And
the same thing. I don't ever
they
put
get
it
to
on my
have it
card.
because when you tip on your card, that server that automatically goes out to the bus people who might be
Right.
crappy, automatically goes out to the bartender who might be very slow with drinks.
Right.
I mean, I was in the industry before, and so I'm sorry. So it's like, why are they getting some of my
I
tip
agree.
when they're not making the drinks fast enough? They're just taking their sweet time, or they don't care, or the bussers aren't with it. So they're still but still when it's on the credit card tip, they're gonna get part of that tip anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
no. I will always give cash. But then I had one time one of the servers, even though he was really, really crappy, I had to go get my own drinks. I was still gonna give him 10% in cash, but he judged me. He went like this. He went, "Was at Denny's. What? No tip?" And slammed the thing on my table. I was like, "Oh, okay. Now you're not getting anything."
Yeah.
But yeah, so that right there is a point of contention for many people
Yeah.
on that. As far as learning platforms, you had mentioned that the commission, lots of
Yeah.
credit unions have free counseling.
Uh-huh.
And then there's something called Nerd Wallet. It's an easy to understand articles on banking and budgeting. There's also something called Khan Academy, and I believe that's free, and that's personal finance. And then there's
Right.
some books, Get Good with Money. It's a step by step by Tiffany Alish, I think is how you pronounce her name. The Index Card by Helene Olin and Harold Pollock, and it's
Uh-huh.
simple rules on one card. And then The Broke Millennial by Aaron Lowry. And it's about, it's got relatable information on it. You can also do hands on by doing a no spend weekend or a cash envelope system to build awareness of where exactly your money's going. And that's all I have, Debbie, on this stats
This is, I think we have covered just basically everything about budgeting.
for basic budgeting. Yeah. But you'll definitely want to stay tuned for our next episode on income tracking so that you
Right.
can know exactly where that money's going. So, on that note, we will bid you
I
adieu,
do.
adieu, and stay curious. And we will see
Stay
you.
focused.
And we will see you in the next episode. Make sure to subscribe and
Yes.
comment, give some love, subscribe, share, all that
Refer
fun stuff.
friends.
I'm gonna budget in the comments.
Yes.
And then we will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Bye.